One destroyer, 327 men, against 4 battleships, 6 heavy cruisers, over 20 warships. The most one-sided naval battle in American history. The USS Johnston had no chance. Every experienced officer knew it. The Japanese knew it. The Americans knew it. Commander Ernest Evans knew it too. He attacked anyway.
Ernest Evans was a Naval Academy graduate and a Native American from Oklahoma. A quiet man, a serious man, a man who believed in one thing above everything else: duty. On the day the USS Johnston was commissioned, Evans gathered his crew on deck and made a promise. This is going to be a fighting ship. I intend to go in harm's way, and anyone who doesn't want to go along had better get off right now. Nobody got off. The USS Johnston was a Fletcher-class destroyer, fast, maneuverable, armed with guns and torpedoes, built for speed and aggression, not for standing toe-to-toe with battleships whose guns could fire shells the size of Volkswagens. A destroyer fights by moving, by striking fast and running, by using speed and surprise against larger, slower enemies. What Evans was about to do, nobody had ever tried before. October 1944, the Philippines. General Douglas MacArthur's long-promised return, the largest naval operation in history, was underway. American forces were landing on Leyte Island, and the Japanese Imperial Navy, knowing this was their last chance to stop the American advance, had launched everything they had left. The Japanese Center Force, under Admiral Kurita, bore down with 4 battleships, 6 heavy cruisers, and 2 light cruisers, over 20 warships of terrifying firepower. Between this fleet and the vulnerable American landing forces stood Taffy 3, a small group of escort carriers,
3 destroyers, including the Johnston, and 4 destroyer escorts. Outgunned, outmanned, outclassed in every possible way. At dawn on October 25th, the Japanese fleet appeared on the horizon. Despite being heavily outmatched, Evans gave the order to attack a major portion of the Japanese fleet. Not retreat, not wait for orders, not radio for help first. Attack. "I'm attacking," he radioed. His voice cut through the chaos, calm but fierce. The Johnston charged, alone, straight toward the most powerful Japanese fleet still afloat, firing everything she had. Guns blazing, torpedoes launching, making smoke, drawing fire away from the vulnerable escort carriers behind her. Under a hail of Japanese fire, Johnston fired more than 200 rounds and 10 torpedoes at Japanese heavy cruiser Kumano, which limped away and survived the battle. The Japanese fleet, confused by the audacity of one small ship charging directly at them, turned, fired, tried to understand what was happening. What was happening was Commander Ernest Evans buying time with his life. Enemy shells managed to strike Johnston, causing widespread damage and casualties. Although seriously wounded, Evans ordered a second assault. His fingers were blown off. Part of his bridge was destroyed. He stood at what remained of the helm, giving orders, still fighting, still charging. For 2.5 hours, the Johnston fought, alone against an entire fleet. Circling, firing, drawing attention, saving the carriers behind her. Japanese officers watching from their ships could not believe what they were seeing. One Japanese destroyer captain later said he watched the Johnston fight with tears in his eyes, saluting her bravery as his own ship poured fire into her. After 2.5 hours, Johnston was dead in the water, surrounded by enemy ships. At 9:45 a.m., Evans gave the order to abandon ship. The Johnston was sinking. Her guns were silent. Her engines were gone. She had fired everything she had, done everything one ship could possibly do. Evans gave the order to abandon ship, and then disappeared. Nearly 190 crew members of the Johnston's 327 died, including Evans. He was never found. The captain who promised to go in harm's way went all the way. The survivors spent hours in the water. Sharks, exposure, exhaustion. Only 141 of the ship's 327 crew survived. But the Johnston had done what Evans set out to do. The Japanese fleet, confused, damaged, unsure of what American forces they were actually facing, turned back. The escort carriers survived. The landing forces survived. MacArthur's return to the Philippines continued. One destroyer, 2.5 hours, changed the course of the Pacific War. Evans was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor, the first Native American in the Navy to receive that honor.
The USS Johnston lay nearly 6,500 meters below sea level off the Philippines, the deepest shipwreck ever discovered. For 77 years, she rested there, undisturbed, unknown, in the deepest dark of the Philippine Sea. The bow, bridge, and midsection were found intact, hull number 55-7 still visible. 2 full 5-inch gun turrets, twin torpedo racks, and multiple gun mounts remain in place. Still armed, still ready, as if waiting for one more order that never came. There is a moment in every war, in every battle, when the math stops mattering. When the numbers, the tonnage, the guns, the odds become irrelevant. When one person decides that what must be done, regardless of the cost. Ernest Evans looked at 4 battleships and 6 cruisers and a fleet of 20 warships and did not calculate his chances. He calculated his duty. The men who survived the Johnston remembered Evans as the kind of officer who never asked anyone to do something he would not do himself, who stood on the bridge when others would have left it, who stayed with his ship until there was nothing left of either of them. If you were 65 or older, you grew up in the world that men like Ernest Evans created.
The world where America prevailed, where the Pacific was won, where MacArthur kept his promise. You grew up in the world the Johnston bought, with everything she had. The USS Johnston rests 6,456 meters below the Philippine Sea. The deepest warship ever found in the deepest water with the deepest story. One ship, one captain, one choice, and an entire fleet that turned back.